Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Today we are discussing the 2016 film, The Edge of 17. This film was directed and written by Callie Fremont Craig. She also is the director of the upcoming Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. But this film stars Haley Steinfeld, Haley Lou Richardson, Blake Jenner, Woody Harrelson as the teacher, and Hayden Seto. And this is a story about a girl who has to navigate maybe around her own self-worth, issues about self-identity. Complicating things is the her witnessing her father's heart attack at a young age and death and the trauma that involves that. And as she gets older, what complicates things even more is her brother, who is perfect in her eyes. He's just this high achieving sibling of hers who starts to date her best friend. So her brother, she doesn't like, dates her best friend, and it really makes things hard for her. And this is a really good film. This is you have to kind of look at the star of the show, Haley Steinfeld, and her performance, because this is a very unlikable character who manages to be very watchable. This actress, Haley Steinfeld, she was also in True Grit, another film in which she shines, but it was a first-rate performance. And I guess this is if you were to look at a textbook narcissist, you might want to look at her. If you think about all her relationships seem to sour, and the very best they're strained. And the one person who seems to deal with her and endures her is her teacher. And Woody Harrelson gives a very fine performance, very kind of listens to her and deals with her, man of few words. And at one point, he kind of tells her the truth. And he says, maybe nobody likes you, you know? And I mean, this is a girl, Jacob, who cuts her friend off because she dates her brother, stops talking to her.
Yeah.
And it's become very awkward. There's more to the story I want to talk about, but I will say that I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I do too. As you said, the acting is great. I mean, I really like Kyra Sedgwick as the mother of Haley Steinfeld, played by actually her character is Nadine, right? And you just see that dynamic between mother and daughter, and they're always at conflict. But to be fair, the Nadine character, right, Haley, is has conflict with everybody in her circle and in her orbit. And she has definitely had a tough time. Like you mentioned, her father passed away when she was 13. And since then, since from 13 to 17, she just feels like she's ugly and is having a tough time making relationships. She does have that one friend who, like you share, ends up dating her brother, who's like one of her not arch enemies, but somebody she just goes to war with as well. And Ruben, it's funny, as I watched this film recently with my family, and I just this week I had a young lady who came to my room at lunch, and I'm like, oh, I just really wanted to get some things done. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't at lunch, it was before school. And I'm like, oh, I need to get these things done. She was wanting me to help her do this and that. I'm like, listen, and remind me, Woody Harrelson had a line. He's like, I have 32 minutes a day I look forward to, and you come in here, and she does that throughout the film, right? The Haley character, the character's name is Nadine. She comes in and she interrupts Woody Harrelson throughout, the film, and you just see him, and he's quiet, and you just see it through his eyes, like he's thinking, oh man, this kid, and I think he's very what's the word? I have so much I get encouraged that he keeps his tongue. He gets spurt out a lot of different things, and he doesn't. He just holds his tongue and listens and listens, and at times even encourages her. There's a time in that film where he gives her some money, right, and says, hey, you know what, why don't you go get some yogurt? You're having a tough day here, why don't you go get some yogurt, miss this period, fifth period, don't worry about it, and just relax, and
Well,
things will go fine.
well, she asked for money.
Yeah, but he didn't have to give it to her, right? And he even says, bring back the change," right? And but so I like their interactions throughout the film. And
He is a man of few words. You're
he
right.
is, he is.
And I think would you, I guess what how I took one of the messages is
Hmm.
she's hard to take. He recognizes it in
Yes.
her. Her mother can't deal with her, and virtually nobody.
Nobody.
And like I said, the performance is great because you still want to watch Haley Steinfeld. She something about her persona. The um the other thing though is that it seems may perhaps the message, one of them is that it's the little things that maybe are critical in making somebody feel loved or feel just these little acts of kindness, like in his case, in him sharing the cookie and
Yeah,
just even sharing the time.
I
um
agree.
he does
And there
just
are a
a,
couple other instances, Ruben, to go with what you're just saying. There are a couple other instances where that happens, and one is with this young man by the name of Irwin Kim, right? This young man who has a crush on Nadine,
the,
right?
the actor is Hayden Settle.
Hayden Settle. And so he is, he just sees all the good in her, right? Although he sees when she's acting out and she's hurtful with him at times, and he has this biggest crush on her, and she's not really taking him too seriously. But then she starts seeing the layers to him. She's like, "Oh, this guy's an artist. Oh, this
Yeah,
guy has something to him. There's more to this guy," because she's so wrapped up in her own world. It's hard
right.
for her to see other things
I,
that's outside her world.
I'm not sure if I agree with you that he sees all the good in her. I think he wants to have, I think he wants to be with her. Okay. I think she slowly starts to see the good in him,
Yeah, yeah.
right? He doesn't
I
see a lot of good in her,
I
but
don't know.
I
Maybe.
think he likes her. I think he wants to, and that's a very important part of the film because um, later there's these little subtle things that happen within the dynamic of
Hmm.
relationship, Hayden Zeno and Steinfeld, Nadine in the movie,
Hmm.
and then another and then another key sequence. What I mean by that is that he wants her, he wants to be with her. They spent time in the swing pool at his house, but she says, I didn't know you were rich." So the reason why she doesn't know he's rich is because she's full of herself. She can't stop talking about herself.
True.
Similarly, later when Steinfeld goes to the teacher's house, Woody Harrelson's house, he opens the door and there's a baby there. And she goes, "Whose baby is that?" Something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Who's this woman? She never knew that he was married and has a kid because she's always talking about herself.
yeah.
There isn't a whole lot of good in her originally because she only is about her and she starts to figure that out. And I think that's a very interesting, very subtle part of the film, but it's there.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I mean, I guess I look at this young man though that I feel like he did like her because he sat with her and he was interested in her. Yeah, of
Of
course, he's a
course he
young man,
liked her.
but
Yes,
well,
he liked her.
I'm not sure if of course because
Uh,
she's not everybody's
I,
gonna like you, but I thought,
no. What I'm saying though is that I think what he saw in her is what a typical teenager sees, especially a boy.
sure,
She's attractive.
attractive. Yeah, okay,
And I think it's important because there's two boys in this, including Hayden Zetto and another boy, where they feel a little bit manipulated sexually by her. And
right.
this is a very key thing because they were not happy with maybe some of the sexual teasing that she was doing,
Yeah, wrong.
which
All these signals. Mhm.
which is I think is another character flaw that she had to work out within her. And
Right.
but Hayden's what I think what I liked about the Zetto character, which is he still hung in there with her and invites her to a movie premiere, one of his short films. So
Yeah, that was sweet. You know what we haven't really talked too much about is Blake Jenner, the brother. I mean, you mentioned him, but I thought he had a strong performance. This is a guy who is the tree in the home. The father passes away, and he kind of becomes not kind of he's the man of the house. And you see that I feel like he had some choices, Ruben, where he could have just went out and just destroyed her, and he decided not to. And because of that, he really I think is a key to this film and this relationship with his sister and the beginning of the healing. And I don't want to spoil the conversations they have because I think it's key to the film. I think that's just some magic moments when he's there and he's talking to his sister and just being honest with her, and when she and it starts clicking with for her. So that's why I wanted to go ahead and give my endorsement, because I felt like, wow, this film, you're just engrossed, and real relationships, real brother, sister, mother's daughter, things that really go on. And even the teacher, I mean, they didn't show that he's this extraordinary teacher. There's this one scene where he's putting a video on, he's walking out of the room, but you do know that he cares and he's there for students, and I think that was cool.
You notice that? Did you notice that there's not a lot of speeches from the good guys, from the Jenner character, right? The brother, who's a good guy, Woody Harrelson. There's no speeches. There's just, if anybody, she gives the speeches. Steinfeld gives the speeches, but they don't give speeches here. I think that's very smart writing, because what you have is, you have a teacher who just sits there and listens. You have a brother who just sits there and listens and takes the abuse from this person, from Haley Steinfeld, a best friend who just takes it. And what a powerful thing to convey, the idea of maybe you should just listen. If you want to help somebody, how about a few speeches? And we as teachers, we sometimes tend to give those speeches. And sometimes maybe it's good to just lay back and listen, and just be empathetic to our students and people around us. Very good film, everybody. We recommend it. And The Edge of 17 on Pod and Deliver. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.